Heavenly melodies, alchemize your felonies. Transmute your hoods into hills like Beverly. Transmute your soul into songs like Let It Be. Immortalize your faculties and fly like falcon wings. I read the book of Maccabees while blazing a sack of weed. No extra speed, but knock you drunk like Jet Li swings. My queen bee sting, but their honey is heavily produced in the 70s, but stolen by a pack of thieves. I rap until I'm 70, bury me with a sack of weed. I snatch a queen. Snap on me and I'ma snatch your teeth. I would've went vegan, but the God keep catching beef. I snack on cheese and crackers. I'm that rapper with the dragon teeth. I set the mic on fire. Blackmessiah brings the mirror heat. Yeah. Mystical epiphany, sweet as Tiffany, lift up with me into the breeze, float blissfully. Watch the slippery, angel melodies, lift me like mystic wings and mysteries. A time and space, the Sufi Simpson sing. Sufi hip hop. I study Ibn Arabi's philosophy, magic and alchemy. The hip-hop poet, puffing a pound of weed. The gods of me stand together like flypaper, stand tall like skyscrapers, dropping bombs on haters. I receive love from locks me 360 degrees of bhakti. I keep my dharma positive so my karma will be true. Rap style mystical like a Hindu. I stay away from the evil that men do. Kick mother suckers out my face like ninjutsu. Disrespect the gods and we would get you. King Darius is down with my clique too. We brothers like Osleys and Puff the fire weed. When we step in the club, we be cool as night breeze. Nights I sport with some Jedi force. Hoodie to match, plus I step with Jedi force. We blinging like the stars in the heavenly skies. Hey, your God, who's that queen with them heavenly eyes? Brown skin, tall skin, Janet Jackson smile. I spoke Ebonics to that goddess in a call canine. Sufi hip hop, Sufi hip hop, Sufi hip hop, Sufi hip hop. Mystical epiphany, sweet as Tiffany, lift up with me into the breeze, float blissfully, watch the split free, angel melodies, lift me like mystic wings, the mysteries of time and space, the Sufi Simpson sing, Sufi hip hop. Back in effect, or let's say black in effect, y'all. Let's go ahead and open up. In the name of Amun-Ra, the Divine Father, Mut-Nata, the Divine Mother, Consul Karas, the Divine Child, and all of us together, the Netaru, the Divine People. I am Pharaoh Dionysus Ambrosia, the Supreme Magus, or Pharaoh Dionysus Ambrosius, the Supreme Magus, the God King. Gotta add that in there too. The sovereign ruler of the Nubiansufi Empire of gods and goddesses, the UTBA, the United Theocracy of Black America. This also includes the black planet Earth, the black planet Mars, the black planet Venus, and all other black planets. We're just saying the whole entire black universe. Because I don't want to take up too much of your time, I'm cutting it short because we got some money to collect because this is a tour, y'all. And so we want to get to the real deal Holyfield and give you a heck of hotel and let the proceedings proceed, right? Let's do this. This is part 2 because there was some pertinent information that was in the last sermon, and for some reason an hour and some change got cut out. Now, I didn't get a chance to go back and backtrack and listen to the whole sermon that I did. But, you know, being one whose mind is connected with the Akashic Records, whatever was supposed to be said came from the Akashic Records or the starry constellations. And so, as I speak, the Anunnaki, the Elohim, the Netaru, of the other planets, they will be rearranging and sending down the transmission into my crown chakra. And then as it formulates through the third eye vision, which is the brow chakra, my throat chakra will send out the message from the stars. Y'all with me on that? Can I get an amen or can I get an Amen Ra? I'd rather get an Amen Ra. All right. So let's move forward. I want to also mention my good buddy Ganesha, and let you know that Ganesha he's a child at heart, but he's full grown, but he has a child at heart. A lot of us, if we want to see miracles and magical things happen, we got to be children at heart. And he's serious about that candy. I just let y'all know that Ganesha is very serious about that candy. If y'all want to kind of, this is what the Hindus made a picture of them. This is their, but you know, they usually put their skin, you know, pale Hindus, they put their, so Ganesha, as the scenes that a man with an elephant head, some say it's symbolic, others say there are beings that exist. There are beings that exist in this universe on other planets and in other dimensions that have animal heads. Some of them have elephant heads, some of them have lion or tiger heads, depending on the mythology and part of the world. But going back to Ganesha, from my third eye vision, Ganesha is not just a mythic deity, but an actual real being. And it seemed like the great goddess Parvati sent him down to basically make sure obstacles are no longer in my way, because I've been basically put as an ambassador of the gods. And when I say an ambassador of the gods, I mean I'm an ambassador of the gods of the Hindus pantheon. I'm an ambassador of the gods of the Kemetic pantheon, even of Europe, the North gods. So I am an ambassador of all of the gods of all of the ancient so-called pagan religions, and all of the ancient gods and goddesses. And it was actually through my openness as a Sufi, understanding the universality of religion, and our religion and the heart of all religions around the world is alchemy. And and alchemy was always the science to not just transform lead into gold, but to transform fallen man back into exalted God, right? So I had, through my ceremonial magic, I had access realms, cross borders, cross spiritual international borders. You know, Taoism, Hinduism, Buddhism, you know, and all of those, the deities of those deities actually represent dimensions with their own worlds. And we want to just think that this planet, this physical plane, is just it. This physical plane is not the only dimension. But because of the Inquisition banned magic, or Heka, which is Heka or magic, which is nothing but alchemy, but it was the world religion of the ancient world. And so this caused people's third eyes to close to magic portals and close to other dimensions and things like that, and other beings that we would consider as magical, right? So there was a time where you could see somebody walking around and they had a different type of, they didn't have a human faces, or humanoid faces we see. But it's amazing that if I'm telling you this, you'll probably say that dude crazy. But yet you can go watch Star Wars and you can see Chewbacca walking around. That's a bear looking humanoid. Or you can see the other guy with one of the, what do you call them, Tusken Raiders or whatever they call them, and they like lizard men. So we can accept when it's on TV, but we can't accept that there was a time that there were different races of people that were, some of them evolved from the lizard or reptilian, some evolved from bird, when it all comes down to it, all beings on this planet Earth and on other planets and even on other dimensions, all beings descended from the gods and goddesses, right? As long as we understand that divine unity. So when we think about Ganesha, for me, he seems to come from a class of humanoids that had a different evolution, you know. And so by us being somewhat separated or divorced of our magical traditions of our ancestors, we lost connection with the magical world or the interdimensional world, right? No, when you say magic, you're actually saying interdimensional. That's all magic is. Magic is what's interdimensional, right? This is a staff, right? If I say it has magic power, what I'm saying it has interdimensional power, right? And if we want to just put a scientific term on the word interdimensional, just say subatomic. And even your secular scientists can go get their microscope and put their microscope over this rain stick, and they can say it looks like it's got different dimensions all in this stick, right? I was reading books on Carlos Castaneda, and he was speaking about his teacher was named Don Juan, and I ain't talking about Don Juan the pimp, but his name was Don Juan de Brujo, which is Latin for sorcerer. And he was showing Carlos Castaneda that even in a little leaf, there's other dimensions, there's other worlds, even in a leaf. And he was speaking about not getting trapped in a gourd. A gourd was like a type of canister. So when you're dealing with this type of canister, it's other worlds in some other dimensions. And when we say other worlds, that means they're inhabitants of these other worlds. When you go sit down with the Hare Krishna movement, and the Hare Krishna movement, though there are certain elements that they mention that I'm in disagreement with when they start saying that, Krishna is the ultimate supreme God and all this stuff. And for my Sufi studies, Krishna was just an avatar, or he was just one of the gods incarnated as a person, but he was not the ultimate being. You know what I'm saying? So that's me. But besides the theological difference, because they kind of parallel with the Jesus is God concept, like that founder sort of like made that or adopted the Jesus is God concept and made Krishna is God. So to bring more Western followers. But besides that, what I will say, left going right, besides that theological difference between me and the Hare Krishna movement, they do point out the science of spiritual planets. And like I said, the Hare Krishna people, they're very beautiful, they're very kind, they feed the people. So besides their theological difference, and when they have their little celebrations, I get in and start dancing, having a good time. So they're very positive. So when you look at their teachings, they speak about spiritual planets. So they not just the material planets that we know, but there's also planets in other dimensions. In the gods and the goddesses that are known in traditional Hinduism, they all have their own planet. Brahma has his planet, Shiva has his planet, Ganesha has his planet. All the different gods and goddesses, they all have their own planets. Of course, they put Vishnu at the top. You know what I'm saying? And so the understanding spiritual planets is something that is a very deep science, because we are just now beginning in this 21st century. We are just now being up under Western education and dictation. We're just now learning that there are inhabited planets in the terrestrial universe. And these habitable planets, they're called Goldilocks zone planets, right? So to even understand that there are even other dimensions, and when we hear about the Mayans, who a good century before the Spaniards came and invaded, they got out of Dodge. They disappeared. So they had choices. They could have even went to the material planets, or they could have went to the spiritual planets, right? And if they went into the spiritual, then that would have preserved them from aging. And so a lot of when you hear about some gods being thousands of years old, a lot of those gods and goddesses who are thousands of years old in the ancient myth, they're thousands of years old because they choose to live in the spiritual universe and not in the material universe, which is subject to gravity and there's other type of physics that take toll on the physical body. All right. So going back to Ganesha, Ganesha is one of those beings, and he likes candy. He's real serious about that candy. And I had to tell him, just before I start the sermon, I had to tell him that I won't be able to give him candy all the time, but if he bring in a blessings of thousands of dollars, you know what I'm saying, then I'm going to have a big giant sack of candy for him, and I'm going to tell everybody, all of the different people that come in aboard the tour, to make sure that they have some type of candy on them for Ganesha. You know what I'm saying? Not because it's compulsory, but they might give Ganesha a piece of candy and turn around and look at their bank account and see $50,000 when they only had $5 in their bank account, because he's hanging out. But something happened with the TV because it was over some candy, and I cut the TV on. First the laptop was jacked. I said, no, laptop jacked. Then I looked at the TV was jacked, and I said, Ganesha, if you're responsible for this TV being jacked, and if something else mess up, because I'm understanding that he is the Lord of Ganas, and that's what the word Ganesha means. Ganesha means the Lord of Ganas. Ganas are these forces, and these forces, they can cause havoc. They can be obstacles in people's life. In Christianity, call Ganas demons, but these are actual powers. You know what I'm saying? That you can use these powers to move things, or whatever, cause the weather to stop raining or make it rain or whatever. Or you can actually call forth an army. There was a story about the Prophet Muhammad, how the Prophet Muhammad, he was in this battle, and he was outnumbered. Him and his soldiers, they was outnumbered on their camels and horses. They was outnumbered. So the Prophet Muhammad took a handful of pebbles and threw the pebbles, and they became an army. This was one of the miracles where we don't hear about Prophet Muhammad performing miracles. We hear more about the Jesus or the Esau performing miracles. But Prophet Muhammad had the miracles. He picked up some pebbles. This is one of the ancient Sufi stories. So that was the power of Ganesha, because Ganesha, his name also means the Lord of hosts, or the Lord of armies, or the commander of armies. So it was in the mythic story that Shiva had all these Ganas running wild. They was running wild, and there was a story that the Rishis, who were the actual Sufis of India, they was called the Rishis, and they did not want to honor Shiva because they were scared of how that he was the destruction and the massiveness of his power, and they didn't want to invite him to their celebration. So he let loose the Ganas, and the Ganas destroyed and wrecked the whole celebration. And some of the rishis was all jacked up and hurt. You know what I'm saying? And so Ganesha was dispatched. You know what I'm saying? And took control of the Ganas. You know what I'm saying? Because when Shiva goes and meditate, the Ganas ain't got nothing to do. Now they're going to go into villages, tear stuff up, and we talking about spiritual forces. So Gana is the one who was put to be in charge of these spiritual forces. So it could be a situation where you trying to start your car and it ain't starting, and you're like, damn, my car ain't starting. You know what I'm saying? Or the engine ain't going, and all this other stuff. Those are those forces that I'm talking to you about. You go ready to DJ your party, and all of a sudden the speaker ain't working. All this type of stuff, all these negative forces. Your sister gonna go get her hair done at the beauty shop, and all of a sudden she got all this hot stuff in her hair, and the lady, she can't wash it out because the sink broke all of a sudden. So these are these forces that are loose. So it takes a God to be able to control these forces and pull these forces and transmute these forces from obstacles into helpers, right? So now things is getting magically fixed that was broken in the car, magically fixed that was broken at the beauty shop and all this other stuff, magically fixed by one who has mastery over the ganas or these forces. In the candy only represent that you're sweetening up this energy. You're sweetening up this energy. So you're making the energy that was negative in your life, that was sour and bitter and negative in your life, making you suffer and struggle in your life, and you're transmuting it into sweet and positive energy, right? I won the lotto. Oh, baby, I'm pregnant. We about to have a baby. All the positive stuff is what these forces could be transmuted into. And this is the reason why Ghana was worshipped in India for a long time. Not Ghana, Ganesha. Why Ganesha was worshipped in India for a long time, for thousands of years. So every now and then he dips into this dimension. Now, I'm kind of glad I found out about Ganesha through Dr. Pillai, who's a Siddha. I'm a Siddha, but I said I need to learn from a living Siddha. And so, guess what? We're going to have a big party for Ganesha because his birthday is on August the 25th. And that is the time that we have to leave to go to Atlanta. But we can go and film the Black Godfather St. Louis movie with brother, the rapper I told you about, looked like a black Hercules, The Gift. And he's playing G Baller. So we're going to go ahead and celebrate his birthday, while we in transit, But I had to speak with Ganesha because, like I said, he got upset about some candy, right? And I don't know if it was because he didn't get credit for eating the candy, or he didn't get the candy when he wanted to get it. And so I've come to get ready to rock and roll and take care of business, make phone calls to the artists and to the team, make sure everybody got their tickets going, and check in and see the sponsors the potential sponsors got their emails and whatnot, and the TV jack. So I said to Ganesh, I said, look, if one more thing in this house is messed up, I'm sending you back to your mother Parvati and your father Shiva. I'm sending you back. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna rock and roll with us on tour. Like I told everybody, you rock and roll with us. You're not gonna rock and roll with us on tour. So I told, the Queen that, and so now I'm getting I'm getting back on the computer and I'm rocking and rolling. I cut the TV back on. Cut it on right now. I cut the TV on, and it's cleared up. So he fixed it up. He got his ganas under control. You know what I'm saying? So my stomach was growling, and I went and got a bag of chips, and I could have sworn in my third eye. And the way you see Ganesha, you see him with your third eye. So I don't want you thinking I'm seeing things, cause when you're seeing any art, I don't want to call him an archetype, because now we understand that this is the interdimensional being. But when you seeing when it's originally an archetype in your life at first, because it's a symbol that's becoming an actual reality. As we said, this is how the Metaneta was done. In the Metaneta, we said words and they became alive. You understand? So when you're seeing an interdimensional being or intergalactic being, you're going to see him with this eye at first. But it was a time where everybody on earth was able to see beings walking here and there, because magic was the religion. Hecka was the religion of the day. So as the prohibitions or the authority to say magic, witchcraft, or sorcery, whatever you want to call it, is outlawed, those who enforced that, like the Catholic Church, who enforced that, along with anointing and appointing and consecrating and commissioning slavery and the whitewashing of Christianity with the white Jesus and all that stuff. They're the ones who said magic is of the devil, it's immoral. But now look today, they saying you can go, two men can get married. You could be trans, take the mark of the beast. So they have lost all their authority to say anything about magic, because they are the embodiments of the immorality that they said magic was, or witchcraft was, or sorcery was, or alchemy was. Right? So, like I said, I saw Ganesha with my third eye, and it was weird because when I was seeing him, I know this little red candy I gave him like this big, but when I see him in my third eye, it is if the little piece of candy is the size is the size of a daggone cantaloupe in his hands. You understand? So there's a lot of magical things about to happen, because I'm one of the first artists that's, since X-Clan and since Erykah Badu, that's actually coming out as a magical artist. We have everything about this Ghetto Rise of the Blackmessiah tour is magical. It's magical. It's spiritual. It's supernatural. Yet at the same time, it's hood, right? Yet at the same time, it's gangster, right? But I'm talking about sci-fi gangster. I mean, we're not talking about bullets. We're talking about laser guns. You feel me? So, you know, we bringing a flavor that's aligned with this age of Aquarius. We in the beginning of the age of Aquarius, family. Just like 2,000 years ago when y'all was rock and rolling with me in Jerusalem, we was in the beginning of the age of the Pisces, right? See, for you to understand any of that, you will have to do like Michael Jackson and remember the time, right? And some of y'all was not ready to rock and roll 2,000 years ago. So like Erykah Badu, I just told y'all, see you next lifetime, right? But we won't be seeing any of you who trip, dip, and sit on a fence in this lifetime, because we're transcending lifetimes, right? We're transcending the wheel of reincarnation. So this Ghetto Rise of the Blackmessiah tour is an opportunity for you all to not just become wealthy, but to become anointed with power. And so I'm going to show you the colors of Dionysus. This is the colors of Dionysus. This is not real gold, of course, but the color gold and the purple are his colors, or are our colors, or are my colors, because we all collectively are that. And so I have been calling everybody I know, going back to the 90s. I'm calling everybody that I know going back to the 90s and say, hey y'all, it is time for us to kick off this Dionysus revolution. It is time for us to kick off this Sufi hip hop revolution. It is time for us to bring the Jubilee. That is what in the Bible, when the original black Jews, right, when they was celebrating a time that they went through 7 years, or something like 7 years of turmoil, right, bondage and all this stuff. So the Jubilee was the time of celebration. So this is a celebration. This is a celebration on that We about to start off another 7,000 year rule. And this is the 7,000 year rule of the planetary genie, right? That's what ceremonial magic called us, the planetary genie, which are the Elohim, the Anunnaki, the Neteru, the Orisha, the exalted assembly of the Holy Quran, right? Those who are the we that circle around the he who wisdom rules for 25,000 years. So this is a jubilee of the original Khalifahs of this planet Earth, of the gods and goddesses of this planet Earth, awakening and arising as that phoenix from the ashes into planetary rule. So we're celebrating with the music. We're celebrating with that real hip hop, that God MC hip hop. We're celebrating with that neo soul. We're celebrating with that roots reggae. You know, celebrating I and I. You know what I'm saying? Rastafari. We celebrating with even with that drum circle. You know, with the drum circle, you know, hitting that drum circle, getting in there and dancing. We're celebrating with the ganja. Yes, with the what we symbolically call the burning bush. We're celebrating with some rock and roll. Yeah, because we know rock and roll originated from rhythm and blues. We're celebrating with spoken word poetry, where you'll be able to hear this brother say these metaphors and these similes and all this imagery, and the sister saying these metaphors and similes, until you could see yourself actually walking on top of these words that they're saying, as it is called Jacob's ladder. You are climbing the Jacob's ladder to heaven from the words of these spoken word poets. Right? We're celebrating with some comedy, with some brothers and sisters and some others that can do some comedy and make you forget about your bad day at work. Make you forget about the argument that you had with your man, sister. To make you forget of your child getting in trouble at school. You know, you forgetting about what's going on the news, how they trying to scare you to death. They trying to scare you to death so your life force can shrink, right? We got some comedy to make you laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh until you cry tears, right? That's the only tears we want you to cry. Cry tears of happiness, right? So we are bringing an army, right? We are bringing an army of holistic artists, right? And we are going from city to city. I'm going to name the cities that's on tour, right? But I'm not going to give you the dates. I'm just going to name the cities, right? So y'all follow me as I go down. I'll make this swift because I still haven't sent the email out to the artists and the potential sponsors. We got Atlanta, Georgia. We got St. Louis, Missouri. Cincinnati, Ohio. Detroit, Michigan. St. Louis again. New York, New York. Boston, Massachusetts. Houston, Texas. St. Louis again. We got to give some. We always got to come back and give extra love to the hometown. Chicago, Illinois. Los Angeles, California. Portland, Oregon. Los Angeles, California. Then we go overseas to Accra, Ghana. Now, at the end of the year, Miami, Florida, and the last show before we shut it down to spring is London, England. So our brothers and sisters, our family who are in London, England, we are going to be seeing you the beginning of the new year. We're going to be seeing you in London, England. And our brothers and sisters, we're going to see you in Africa before in the next couple of months. And so we have an army of artists that are going to put out so much powerful lyrical frequencies, right? That it's gonna basically annihilate the demons. Let's say clip hops, right? That's been plaguing their communities. They're gonna basically, as I said, heavily melodies alchemize your felonies, transmute your hoods into hills like Beverly. So we got so the first artist that we're starting with is Miss Venita Moore. So Venita Moore, she's a seasoned artist. She's already been doing her thing in St. Louis for a while, but there has not been any camera on her. There has not been any exposure on her. So she's gonna be featuring in my show at Blank Space. For those of you that are in St. Louis, that's August the 28th. Before that, we have a show I have a show in Atlanta on the 27th. I sent a lot of you invites. In those invites are ticket links. I need you to go and demonstrate Zakat, right? And whether you are in St. Louis, Missouri, or you in Seattle, Washington, buy a ticket anyway, just because it is putting fuel in what? The tank. And when you buy a ticket and you say, look, I bought this ticket, then you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make you my best buddy. I'm going to make you my best buddy. I'm going to make you a person that I'm going to come and I'm going to back as a sponsor in the future. That I'm going to back as an investor in the future, right? Because I want to show us as a people that wealth is created through reciprocity, right? If you keep saying you don't got no money, the universe is going to lock you in on that, right? And then not only is the universe going to make you go the rest of your life without money because you put that word of power on yourself, right? You put that limitation on yourself instead of saying, I am abundance. Or instead of wisely saying, brother, I'll get back with you, and see what I can do, right? Or sister, I can get back with you, right? But when you turn down the one who come to you for help, right? And that brother or sister end up becoming a multimillionaire, right? And they could live in your city right across the town from you. You cannot go to them and ask for anything, right? You can't even go to them. You can go apologize, and I didn't know you was gonna get large. Your music was gonna go, or your business was gonna. I wish I would have supported you when I. Oh man, could you help me out? I need $20,000. Now you are outside of the law of Maya, because you did not break bread, right? So that person don't have to do nothing for you, right? Give you a free ticket to the concert, right? Give you a business card, That's all they have to do, right? And as black people, all races of people who are listening to me, I'm talking to my family right now. As Black America and the Black planet Earth, we're going to keep on bumping our heads. We're going to keep on going in and out of business until we understand, or more like overstand, that we gotta become reciprocity with our dollars. I want to see if I'm saying the right word in regards to, there's a Kwanzaa principle, right? It's a Kwanzaa principle, and I'm going to post it because this is what I'm asking y'all to do, right? I'm begging you to do it, not because I want your money, right? I'm begging because I want to be able to bless you. But I can't bless you if you don't bless me, right? I want you, even if it just be, even you say, well, we gonna put, it's about a whole crew, it's about 5 of us, and we know what he's doing. And y'all put y'all money together, and it'd be $1,000, you know what I'm saying, for the gas tank, right? I will be happy with that, and then I'm gonna note that now. As soon as we get a blessing, We knocking on the door of your Cash App. We knocking on the door of your Venmo. We knocking on the door of your PayPal. We knocking on the door of your Bitcoin wallet or your Ethereum wallet, right? But if you don't break bread, and we in the process of stimulating millions and millions of dollars of entertainment income and profit, then you will be waiting for a knock to come on your door, but there won't be a knock from us, right? I'm going to be more hurt than you are because I can't break bread. I'm going to be more hurt because I can't do nothing for you. It's going to break my heart because I can't do nothing. It's going to make me almost want to cry, but I'm not going to cry because I would be the wrong person to cry. When we look at other ethnic groups, the reason why other ethnic groups are thriving is because they're demonstrating the very principle in Kwanzaa that we lip service. Everybody talk about Kwanzaa, but they lip service the principles. They wait until Kwanzaa come around and want to give a gift out. This is why the mainstream black community, they don't respect Kwanzaa. They don't respect Afrocentricity. They don't respect so-called pro-black. They don't respect nothing. They're going to respect this. But they don't respect you because they see that you are not stimulating a financial network between the so-called conscious community. There's a spot, and I'm not going to put the sister business out on, but there's a spot in St. Louis, right? Got this flag up, got all type of dashikis and this, that, and the other, right? But whenever I walk up in the store, the sister look at me like, I don't even get no love from the sister. When I go in there in the shop and I like, hey, my name is Esau Shakur. I'm thinking about, I might want to get a space up in here. I may want to, but the sister look at me like I'm an alien. The sister look at me like I'm not brother Baba Zulu, right? I'm not sister Aset. You know what I'm saying? I'm not anybody that she knows she's cool with. Right? That's that cliqueism mentality. That's not the way a nation is built. But see, if it was me and it was my store and somebody came in there, how you doing, family? What's going on? Oh, I got this idea. Oh, for real? All right. Now, just in case I'm busy, this brother work with you, all right? But we interested in what you got going, right? I'm not gonna say, do he know brother Shaka Zulu, or do he be going down to the Kwanzaa festival? I don't know that person. I see he got all of the medallions, but see, that business don't even get really any business, and soon it's gonna be out of business because you going in, you're conscious, but you're going in with your business, but you're looking for conscious people that you know and you cool with. You're not opening your business to the world, right? Favoritism, cliquism, that's all individualism. So, going back to different ethnic groups, this principle in Kwanzaa. So this is Kwanzaa right here. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, this is the Kwanzaa that everybody's going to get ready to celebrate in the next 3 months or close to 3 months. Right? And they say all the principles, but none of them really follow through on the principles when it comes to the community. All the money in the black community, circulating in the black community, and you got a conscious business in the black community, and you are not getting any money in that community, and you've been there for 3, 4, 5 years, and you don't have that money being streamlined, them black dollars being streamlined to your business, you just waiting on somebody conscious to walk in your shop, when there's all these people in here that can buy your product and become conscious. You ain't knocking on the door. I worked for white companies. They flew me all the way out to Colorado to knock on doors. I said they put me on a plane, had a cab pick me up, dropped me off in a hotel that I didn't even have to pay for. And I said that I didn't have to pay for, just to go knock on some doors, right? In neighborhoods I never even been to, just so they can get their product in the hands or the doorknobs of those residences. Because they understood if they don't get 100, at least they might get 25 to 50%, right? But black businesses that are caught up in, I'm conscious, I got the dashiki, I got the kufi and all, they lacking the marketing of reaching out to the demographics that they product are aligned with. So black businesses are going out of business, right? In St. Louis, there's been black businesses owners that I've known and I met with, and I say, hey, can I work with y'all? I can do this project. But it was more like, we interested, but we want you to be more interested in our business. But I said, I got a business. I'm trying to work my business with your business, right? Oh no, maybe. So the say, well, that's your thing. Good luck with your stuff, right? Now their business is about to shut down, and I've seen businesses shut down. The same ones I spoke with. They didn't want to break bread with me, right? Because who knows? We could have had a positive thing happen, and their business would have got $1 million. But see, if we all just on survival mode, ain't nothing's gonna happen. And this is why this principle I was looking for in Kwanzaa is called Ujima, right? But no, Ujama is the one I'm looking for. So Ujama means cooperative economics. Cooperative economics, meaning that we are all putting our money together, all the businesses. So when I say, hey, I represent Nubian Center Records, I'm going to go find artists. I'm not just going to find artists. I'm going to go find other executives, urban executives, those who are artists, but they got their own business. This brother right here does graphics. This sister right here, she make beats. This brother right here does photography. This sister does this. These, not only are these artists that I am going put into this Ghetto Rise or the Blackmessiah tour, but they are also businesses. I ain't saying, oh, I'm doing my own thing, chicken wing. Good luck with what you're doing. I'm saving my money for my own thing, chicken wing. Good what you're doing. Thumbs up, Facebook like, I'll buy, I'll come check you out, whatever. But I can't be interested in what you're talking about. I'm doing my own thing, chicken wing. Because while you doing your own thing, chicken wing, the beast is raising taxes on the lease that you're paying. While you doing your own thing, chicken wing, there's some other business beasts that are plotting to buy the building that your business is in, and they're going to kick your ass out the business. They don't want your rent money. They bought the whole property that you did not wise up to link up with other black businesses so you can buy your property. See, I deal with guerrilla marketing, right? So as a guerrilla marketing, I know how to stump out and cast out what's that word I want to say? It's in the tip of my tongue. Gentrifiers. I know how to stump out and guerrilla pimp smack gentrifiers, right? And the way that we talk about stumping out gentrifiers is we get the type of money, we get the type of capital that makes businesses gentrify proof, and that is talking about in the form of commercial real estate. So we're not just teaching artists, or we're not just having artists get on the stage, rap, sing, and that's it. We also training them to get enough capital to buy property, right? Buy you some property, buy you some commercial property, right? And so them suckers won't try to do taxes, strange things on taxes. Now throw about 12 months in advance on top of your stuff. Pay your stuff 12 months to 20 months in advance. You just got 20 grand from this show. Pay your stuff off in advance. Right? A lot of the conscious community, they got their stores in white owned commercial properties. That is, you cannot depend on that, because at any given moment, another business, white business, can want your location. They will come in your location in the form of somebody want to buy a trinket. Oh, I like this. I love this. But they looking at the little copper shed, the copper brass copper ring, or looking at the cowrie shells, but at the same time they're looking at your store. Next thing you know it, 3 months later, the building got bought. You got to get out of there. You only got 2 months to be in there. I could say Golden Grocer was in a good prime location in Central West End. A sister bought the store, the business, but she did not buy the building. A sister, I want to missay her name, but she bought it. Nubian sister bought it, but she didn't buy the daggone property. She didn't buy the commercial property. I found out that I don't want to mention. Well, I'll say Wash You and someone else that I know that's a white business owner that always tell me he ain't got no money. I said, damn, you must have learned that from black folks. When I talked to him about sponsoring, he said he ain't got no money. I said, no, you a multimillionaire. You need to stop lying to me. So him, and I'm not gonna say his name, and Wash You bought the property that was Golden Grocer was Central West End, and now I'm driving down the street in St. Louis and I see Golden Grocer way in some neighborhood, tucked way in a corner, way away from any foot traffic. How long is that business gonna go up? How long is that building gonna last? Right? The woman who owns probably about a good 3 or 4, 5 commercial properties on a Delmar Loop, name is Mary. I spoke to her because I had ideas on me getting one of those shops. Actually, my mind was on getting Naps at the time. No one was in there where Naps is at, and I wanted to through the tour, because we was thinking we was gonna have a tour at that time, and I would have been able to take about $20,000-$30,000 and secure that, but it never went through. And that's the reason why I tell y'all when I send out these links of PayPal donations and all this, I'm trying to raise money so I can grab properties and grab opportunities for us. Right? So when I saw Mary, I saw her, I looked at the property. First I called about it because I was saying, okay, somebody already took that, so let me see that space where the bookstore, let me see if I can get that. You know what I'm saying? We can get that and turn that into something. Open mic or something like that, or restaurant where we could turn it into something like that, or a dispensary or something. And so I just happened to come across her one day, and I said I'm interested, and I found out that was Mary, and I spoke with her about the property. She gave me her phone number and everything. All right. And in that same location was a sister named Nikita had that, and I was trying to build with her and work with her, and whatever happened, they didn't want her lease money no more, right? So now there's a little shoe. Some young cats got a shoe shop in there now, right? But when I saw the white woman Mary, she said, I own all this property, going all the way down. So I'm saying to myself, what would be the use of me as a black business owner leasing this place out for 12 months, and any given Sunday, if she disagrees, or she may hear me online saying some revolutionary stuff, or whatever the case may be, or somebody may see, oh, they're making a lot of money. And this is, and to all my white supporters, all my supporters of the Caucasian persuasion, a lot of you may not know you do this, but those of you, not those of you that's working at the warehouse and 9 to 5 like I worked at plenty of time. I'm talking about those of you who got 100 stacks, 300 stacks, you're millionaires. A lot of you don't know that you do this when you go into a black business. You'll look at a black business, you'll enjoy the open mic, or you enjoy the coffee, tea, or the whatever it is, the medallions. You'll enjoy that, right? But instead of you just wanting to buy something, you want to buy the business out, right? That's how you become a devil. That's how you become a demon, right? Right. And when you want to buy it out and basically throw the original owners out, or make them the original independent owners work for you because you bought it, and or even buy the building, right? That's not right. That's gentrification, right? So that type of stuff is gonna make when you go and stand before in the hall of Maya, your heart gonna be heavy as bricks, right? But so, that's something that I advise y'all to, you know what, you go into a black business, you like what you see, they got buy unk. You know what I'm saying? You see some sage, buy some sage, bless the business, right? And leave and don't think about trying to take the business, right? Because I've seen a lot of black businesses get taken over, right? The commercial property get bought, and then it don't. You see, you can buy the business, but you can't buy the customers. You can't buy what attracted the people, right? So you got this black business, you bought it, right? And some people, they put their fist in their black power, but when it gets stressed out, they go ahead and sell out. You got this black business, but now it ain't making no money because the spirit was the independent owners. It was the spirit of the independent owners that made it vibrant. Now you bought it, they ain't go. Like for instance, now this is not actually a black business, but it really served the urban community. You know what I'm saying? That coffee shop that was on Central West End off of Maryland and Euclid. It was not altogether a black business, but it served black people, and it served, homeless, it served college students, it served musicians that went in there and did their art, and it had a good stream of income coming in, right? But what happened is, here come this other, I like what's going on here. Maybe I can make the same money. So now they bought the building, gave the man a check. He probably was in debt, COVID, whatever. Bought it. Now there's like 2 or 3 customers coming in. It's not even making, I can guarantee it's not even making 25% of the money that it made as his own coffee shop. But see, that's the wealthy white elite's mind. I'm going to buy that, But you can buy the building. You can't buy the spirit that's bringing the money, that's bringing the customers. And so that's something that needs to be stopped in your own self, right? Especially you say, hey, I'm rolling with the Blackmessiah. I'm rolling with the UTBA. So if you white and you say you rolling with the UTBA, if you white and you say you rolling with the Blackmessiah, you cannot be a gentrifier. You got to be against the gentrifier like an abolitionist was against slavery. If you say you're going to roll with the Blackmessiah. Now, I said Blackmessiah. I ain't say Black Lives Matter. That ain't nothing but LGBTQ with a black face. Because, see, we want to benefit the community. And that's what this tour is. As we raising positive energies, as we're stimulating income, we can decrease the crime rate in the urban areas. We can decrease them down to 10%. I said we can decrease the crime rate down to 10% if we, the gods, are the ones who are in charge of the radio broadcasting frequencies. If we, the gods, are in charge of what's coming through BET. BET is another thing that I want to challenge. I want to challenge that, and I want to take ownership of BET. I said I want to take ownership of BET. We hear that Elon Musk, he backed out on Twitter, right? He's got the millions. He got the millions and the billions to buy Twitter. But if I had the millions and the billions, I would not buy Twitter. I would buy BET. And it would be those brothers and sisters at these spoken word events like Energy's Word Up, you know, at Herb Arts, at Lyrical Therapy Herb Arts. It'd be some positive vibrations that's going to be going through BET, and we're going to change it from BET to BGET, Black God Edutainment Television. Because at this point, the dumbing down of the black masses is the worst thing that can be done. And that's all BET is doing, is dumbing down the black masses. So there's a great work that has to be done. As I said, we want everybody, no matter what city or state you're in, we want you to get a ticket. We want you to buy a ticket, right? Even if you have to fast from your dime sack of weed, right? And your cigarette packs just to get a $12 ticket, right? Well, brother, I ain't in St. Louis. You ain't got to be in St. Louis. The people who you pay your taxes to ain't in St. Louis. The people that you pay your taxes to are in Washington, D.C., right? So if we getting love coming from the East Coast to the West Coast, then I could get on stage and say, man, it was a conscious community in Chicago. They just bought by hundreds and hundreds of tickets and wasn't even intended on going. They just bought tickets just to break bread, just to demonstrate zakat is what it's called in Islam, just to demonstrate prasad is what it's called in the Hindu teachings, or charity, what it's called in Christianity. They just broke bread. We got $10,000 worth of sold tickets coming from Atlanta. We got $500 of sold or bought tickets coming from Cleveland. People just been going to the link and getting it just on a strength, right? And that's what we're gonna call that, getting it on a strength, money magic, right? Because in magic, you do something on purpose. You create a karma on purpose so you can receive something, right? So you are purposely giving so the universe could give back, right? A lot of you go and pray, Allah give me this, Allah give me this, Jesus give me this, Jesus give me this, Olodumare give me this, give me this. You praying the universe to give you stuff, but you don't want to give nothing. The universe will only reflect what you do, right? You don't break bread, but you want the universe to break bread. So we asking you to break bread because this is the Ghetto Rise of the Blackmessiah tour. This is what J. Edgar Hoover and his successors added fee. But if you buy it out of my hand, it's just gonna be 12 bones, right? We don't got time to ship nobody no tickets. We got other shows coming up which we will have time to ship, but we don't got time to ship tickets now, right? If you're in St. Louis and you want more, and you want at least 10 tickets or more, I'm gonna show you these tickets, and you can't even lose these tickets. So if you're in St. Louis and you say, hey, I want 10 tickets, right? Before you hang up, before you can hang up the phone, I'm gonna be knocking on your door with these tickets. I said, if you inbox me, Instagram, Facebook, whatever, before you even hang up, before you even get off the messenger, whatever you contacted me on, already gonna be knocking on your door with your 10 tickets or more, right? We're not playing. So 10 tickets or more, and you in St. Louis, that's delivery, right? But we're not gonna deliver and for somebody to say, we're gonna wait till we get our paycheck. We're not waiting on your paycheck. We're not gonna go punch the clock with you every day until you get paid. Then all of a sudden you get your money and you say your baby mama, you had to give her some money, right? The landlord was knocking on the door, and you open the door, he was knocking on your forehead. You gotta be, your cash gotta be in hand, or your Cash App or your PayPal is already gotta be ready, Freddy, summing up to 12 tickets plus 10. I mean 12 tickets times 10. Right? Your mathematics gotta be ready, right? And we will bring these tickets to you and put them in your hand. But if you're online and you're in other cities, then we got the link, right? And if you're an artist and you want to tour with us, you sing, you rap, you dance, whatever you do, we get you on that stage, we put $500 in your pocket or your purse. But you're going to have to put in work, right? You just can't get on the stage and you don't put in work, right? So we asking even people that we even pay to perform, we asking them to bring their numbers, right? I'm going to be reaching out to a few people tomorrow. So you bring your numbers. No longer as we doing a thing where we have, I was talking with somebody in Ohio that we brought it, we bringing in as a radio host and a promoter for the tour, right? We got 4 different people. We got two females and 2 men that's going to be doing the broadcasting, and that's going to be at certain locations with our Chocolate City deal. But I said where me and my white buddy Greg messed up at is we had a whole venue full of rappers and singers, but no one bought with them any fans. And so each one of them got up and they did they rap and whatnot and was mad because the other rappers sing. Nobody was clapping for them. But everybody's on ego mode. A lot of people's on ego mode, right? They didn't bring no fans. And so that left me holding the ball where I barely was able to pay the security. I was barely able to pay the DJ. And by the time it was over with, I went home broke, right? And the venue man was like, we don't want this no more, right? So no more of our events and you're just going to show up by yourself. You're going to show up with at least 20 fans. I said you're going to show up with at least 20 fans and they all bought them a ticket, right? So when we rocking and rolling and we doing our show, you got your fans cheering you on, and you may have some other folks cheering you on because they're hearing your fans, right? So every artist got to bring at least 20 loyal fans. But you can't run around saying you hotter than hot sauce, and you can't even get your cousin and your little sister to show up, right? You can't even get your next door neighbor that you known for 20 years to show up, right? But you hotter than hot sauce. So it's all about numbers. Everything is about numbers. So if you want to be an artist to join the Ghetto Rise of the Blackmessiah tour, get your fan base ready. Get your fan base ready to become our fan base, right? That's how you break bread. If you ain't got no cash rule, right? Your fan base becomes your cash rule, right? But we're going to have a good time, and we're going to raise positive energy to vibrate and shut down wars, positive energy to cast out any more sicknesses and diseases, and also to shut down and expose any wicked scientists that's out creating more. But it's all about the Ujamaa, which is the cooperative economics, us putting the money together. And as I said with other ethnic groups, people could say all they want to say about the Mexicans, talk about them, they crossing the border, they ain't no good, woo, woo, woo. Call them all type of names, but I tell you this, they put their money together. My sister stayed in Whitehall Manor, right there, Whitehall Manor. Black folks, more black folks in that area in Bridgeton. Yet there was a whole lot with commercial property right there for the pickings. But the mentality of the majority of black people, like the majority of black people in this country, is job-based consciousness. Job is nothing but sharecropping. That's all it is. Not business owner mentality. So these big commercial properties was collecting cobwebs. But then there was Mexicans, however they got over here, and it could have been a family of Mexicans getting the whole apartments up and going out working with white construction companies and whatnot. Working with white general labor companies and whatnot. But they was taking their money, not so they could stay working for someone else, but so they can buy businesses and work for themselves and send money back to their motherland, which is Mexico, right? So within months, I come back to go see my sister, and the whole area there was a Mexican cricket store, Mexican laundromat, Mexican corner store. The Arab corner store was not getting any money from the Mexicans in the neighborhood. I said the Arab corner store was not getting any type of money from the Mexicans in that neighborhood. They had their own corner store, right? Just a little bit, probably about 15 to 20 feet away from the Arab corner store, right? But all the black folks were still going to the Arab corner store, right? Mexicans was taking their money and putting it back into their own pockets. I said they was taking their money and putting it back into their own pockets. Well, we was taking our money and putting our money into a black hole. And then when Brother Esau walk up, you say you ain't got no money. No wonder you ain't got no money, because other people is getting your dollars, right? And here come brother walking with his pants sagging down. You can see his drawers, his hair going left and right, shirt wrinkled up, busted shoes, only $2 in his pocket, and he goes up into the Mexican laundromat, the Mexican corner store. He like, y'all hiring? I'm looking for a gig. No, Negro, no, we got no job for you. We got Julio, he gonna work it. We got my little sister, Maria, and we got the friend, my friend and his whole family just got into Mexico like last month. They need work. They work up in the laundry. They work here. No, they work in the corner store. They work. No, we don't need no more help from no help. But you want to buy something? So yeah, no hire, but you can buy something. You can go buy. Now he walking away, right? Mad and probably cussing him out. But brother, why you gonna walk away mad and cussing him out with your drawers showing your doodle stains? Why is you gonna get mad and cuss them out when you and everybody else in the community years and years and years and years and years and years and years earlier, y'all could have put y'all money together and got that property? Right? So that's why my movement, we're called the Nubiansufi Empire of Gods and Goddesses. All of us have our own businesses. All of us have our own finance and economics. And what we do to thrive as a resurrected Olmec empire is we demonstrate Ujamaa, cooperative economics. There will be no Nubiansufi will not tell another Nubiansufi I ain't got no money. It'll just say, let me see what happened when this money come out my way. Let me see what I can do when this money come my way, right? And then we will put our heck together to make it happen. So we will be at the Open Mic Legacy. We will be looking to make some other things happen. But for any artist that want to get on, it's just about bringing your numbers, breaking bread. You break bread through your numbers. That's how you break bread. But if we go on doing shows and tours and you contributing, you won't have to worry about your travel expenses. You won't have to worry about your lodging. You know what I'm saying? We doing this just like petitions was done. And for those of you who have done petitions with me, the petitioner never had to pay for his hotel expenses. The petitioner never had, or her hotel expenses. The petitioner never had to pay for their transportation, or their transportation to locations. They never had to pay for. They may have chipped off on some gas if they was with a crew and they was going to hit up some petition spots, but most of the time, lodging, all that was taken care of. So if you're on tour, we got you. Long as you bringing in numbers, right? That's your job, is to bring in numbers. Just like how we was doing petitions. In petitions, we had to bring in numbers, get signatures, right? So we opening the door for y'all, and I'm just gonna say it out. Artists, actors of all races and nationalities are welcome as artists. Yes, I have a black movement, a black religious and black political movement, but I'm not limited to that, because my blackness is universal blackness, because all colors in the universe come from that one eternal blackness, that Amun-Ra, right? So moving forward, all of you that know me for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, and you got a business and you got money, right? Whether you're in New York or you're in Miami, right? Whether you even went all the way out to Ghana, you there. No matter where you at. Or you heard of me, or you know of me, or you looking at the YouTubes, or you going and just doing background check on doing. I got caught. I did a lot of bad stuff in the past, right? What am I doing today? So, you know of me and what I'm doing. This is your chance. This is your chance to either be an investor or a sponsor. This is your chance to break bread, because the tour is happening now. We are not going to wait for anybody here in St. Louis or any of my people I know to tell me to wait until next week. Let me get back with you next week. Let me get back with you next month. We're doing this celebration. We're doing this, that. I'm not going to wait until you do your thing, right? And get back with you, because we are already live. The camera is live right now. What we want is you and us. If you're gonna break bread and invest or sponsor, we want you to do it now, and then continue on what you're talking about doing with your own personal project, right? Then we won't be sitting here waiting on you, right? Because it's wrong to have somebody sitting waiting, right? So just do what you're gonna do, because we got people waiting on us. We got people waiting on us in Africa. We got people waiting on us in South America. We got people waiting on us that's ready to rock and roll. And we don't want to wait on you, because now people waiting on us, right? When the IRS or whatever the government coming, whatever the landlord, you don't make them wait. So don't make us wait, because we're also building our own government, right? A government that is basically a heaven on earth government, right? So you could be able to exit us out of this hell on earth government. So those of you who are businesses or business owners, yes, you got a project going. You may be doing your own thing on music. You may be doing your own thing on movies, right? You may be doing your own thing on festivals and everything else, right? And I say, hey, can you break bread? Or, hey, can I speak at your venue so I can get the word out what I'm doing, right? We ain't got time. We can't let you do that. We can't let you speak. We can't let you perform, or We ain't gonna be able to break bread right now. How about months from now? Right? But months from now, I could end up being a multimillionaire and your stuff could end up flopping. Now I have the opportunity and you don't, and you're knocking on my door. And I got nothing to give you as we first started off. So I don't want you to come and knock on my door and I can't give you. I want to give you thousands of dollars. I want to give you hundreds of thousands of dollars. I want to even give you millions of dollars. I know I'm destined to be a billionaire. I want to be able to give you that, my fellow black businesses. But if you don't support my black business, then how can I support your black business? I'll be going against the laws of Maya. I'll be going against Ujamaa, cooperative economics. So, if you want to see this flag waving from New York to California, from Ghana, Africa, from Accra, Ghana, and Africa to London, England, in Europe, put your black dollar where your mouth is, right? If you want to do more than buy tickets, we got sponsorship links. You could, if you want, and when we say sponsorship links, we talking about you paying 10, 20, 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, 50,000, all the way to $1 million if you want to, if you got it like that. And are we going to do with this potential $40 million profit earning at the box office movie? All we're going to do is put your business in our movie. I called up Sweetie Pie. Somebody answered the phone. I didn't get a chance to talk to the owner. They were speaking for the owner. They're going through financial stuff. I don't think she's interested right now. Speaking for the woman. We talking about me in my role as Tarisha Bass. I'm inside Sweetie Pie's eating me some dinner, right? And just like Sweetie Pies was on the Oprah show, now it's in a movie. That's every time anybody go see the movie or look at the movie when it hit Amazon or when it Netflix or any other of those networks that we're gonna be sending it through. Cause soon as it's done with the movies, soon as the Black Godfather 1 and Black Godfather 2, the Black Godfather St. Louis 1 and Black Godfather St. Louis 2, because we got a sequel to it that's coming right after it's coming like 3 or 4 months after the first one. And then we're going to do the Black Superman movie, and our Star Wars is going to come after that. So soon as the movie is done in the theaters, it's going straight into the streams, right? And we're talking about $40 million at the box office that this movie can gross by Thanksgiving. If we wrap it up and get this movie done by mid-October, because we got to leave a month for editing. We got to leave a month for the Hollywood red carpet events and all that other stuff, and right? So you all knowing this, but you say you don't got no money, or you can't break bread, or I can't even do a simple thing as speak at your event or perform. Then when we get ready to eat a $40 million turkey, we can't even give you a wing, right? We can't even give you a wishbone, right? Because we will be taken away from those black businesses, and from those businesses, even businesses of other races are invited. But we will be giving somebody else blessings to you. That ain't gonna be fair. That's not my yacht, right? You wanna bring an empty plate to the table. We're not dealing with people that want to bring empty plates to the table. We're dealing with people that want to bring ingredients so we can create this feast, right? So that's what I'm going to be really on hardcore. So this is going to be probably more like the last sermon for a minute, at least until Sunday, and that's if I got time to do it Sunday, because we'll be coming back from Atlanta, right? So this is mainly dealing with the ghetto rise of the Black Messiah. tour. And as regards to when I spoke about the Khalifah and the Sufi and the Khalifah, is that is what the whole energy behind this is, the Khalifahood. So as I stated, so there won't be no misunderstanding. No, I started off as a Muslim in my early days, but I also went from that into being a Hebrew Israelite. I was a Baptist. I grew up as a Baptist Christian because that's what my family was. But then I started listening to the teachings of, or listen to the speeches, more like the speeches of Malcolm X, and then from that I learned about the Nation of Islam, became a Muslim. And then as I started to deal with other schools of thought, the Rastafarians, the Moors, all these different groups, and then I learned about my ancient Hebrew roots. That's when I came through as a Hebrew Israelite. And this is all a period of years. And as I was telling y'all in other videos, I ran into different angels that was physical men and women that guided me through these different phases that I went through until I perfected myself. And so when I got jammed up in trouble and I had to cool my heels, and while I was cooling my heels, I started practicing yoga. And from my yoga experiences, I got visions, outer bodies. And I've been having outer body experiences, seeing into the past, seeing thousands of years into the past or thousands of years into the future. But it was the Moors who introduced me to Sufism. And so when I came to Sufism, I at first thought I had to become a Muslim to be a Sufi, because the literature that I was getting at the time, they was all talking about, a lot of the Sufis had Arabic names and stuff like that, and I started seeing myself getting in conflict with the Orthodox Muslims, because Sufism was teaching the whole universe is God, right? At the same time, I didn't have a good understanding of that concept, and end up meeting individuals from Wicca, learning magic existed, and doing a whole thing. I met the 5% brother, who was my enlightener at the time, brother Charles X, and he put the backbone to my Sufism, put the aspect of the God that the Sufis was talking about was a man, but not just any man, but a supreme man, right? And that's when I started to understand the science of what the Sufi was, because in the Holy Quran it says that we made man, or we subjugated the sun and the moon of man, right? So that means that the Sufi is not a Muslim. The Sufi is one that all creation is made Muslim to. Why? Because the Sufi is a Khalifah. So the Khalifah is a ruler over the planet Earth. But when you say Muslim, it's like saying Christian or Buddhist or Hindu. You're saying a religious title. But when you're saying Khalifah, you're not saying a religious title. You're saying something like a king, a ruler, a lord, right? So the Sufis represented those spiritual kings, those shepherds of the sheep-like masses. That's where the symbolism of the wool come from. Sufi means one who wears wool, which is the symbolism, which is the robe of the monks or the robe of the hierophants, the spiritual shepherds of the people. And so with all this knowledge crystallized out of my reading of Bawa Muhyiddin, which is a Sufi master, as I mentioned to you about him in previous videos. And so in Sufism, I was able to become an ambassador to brothers and sisters of different religions, and without confusion, without dilution. I was able to become an ambassador to the brothers that was in the Nation of Islam. I was able to become an ambassador to the brothers in the Moor Science Temple. I was able to become an ambassador to those, the white groups that was into Wicca and they studied magic, because I ended up learning that magic and mastering their magic. You know what I'm saying? As a Sufi wizard, as a ceremonial magician, So I was able to become an ambassador to the different religions, to the Buddhists, to the Hindus. I became an ambassador, and that's what the Sufi is. The Sufi is an ambassador to all of the religions of the planet Earth, because all of the religions of the planet Earth, they all have alchemy. They all are parts of the body. They are parts of the body parts of a Asar. So the Sufi are set as the goddess Isis, learned from the greater Sufi master Tahuti to put the body parts of Asar together, these body parts of the different religions of the world, and put these different body parts together of this divine black man, Asar or Osiris, right? And use words of power or Heka to resurrect this body, to resurrect this God King, and thus this God King impregnates the wisdom, the wisdom, which is Aset, which is the goddess Isis, and which is the black woman, and give birth to a nation, right? So from 1998 to 2022, I've been gathering the body parts of Asar, of Osiris, and using the wisdom of Tahuti to resurrect. In Black America, we are those separate body parts as well, because all those religions come from us. So those are our body parts. Those are our body parts that we are bringing back together, right? The Olmec Empire is coming back together with the unification of Black America. And our children will be the Heru, the Horus, who will sit on the throne to rule not only this country, but the whole planet. So Heru is the Khalifah of Asar. And the whole science of the Khalifah even goes back to Ptah. As I said, the god Ptah. The god Ptah was the one. He's the grand architect of masonry. It was Ptah who constructed or built or created this yellow sun solar system. And then he brought forth his son Atum, right? This is Ptah. Now remember what I left out. I'm getting the transmissions now, what I left out now. They sending me the transmissions down. So this is Atum. As I said, he's got the Jad type of scepter. So he was a scientist, a real man, and he was the one who created this solar system. This is his wife. Let's see, man. It's time for me to shut down because I'm trying to get the sniffles. This is his wife, Sekhmet. But she also represents the yellow sun of this yellow sun of the solar system. Just like Ra represents, she represents the feminine aspect of the yellow sun. And of course, she's got the red disc because that connects her to the Taurus constellation of Aldebaran, was that giant red sun. So as we make the other connect, as I said, Ptah had made Atum his Khalifah. He made him his Khalifah over all the 9 planets. But the way that it was done is that it shows a hierarchy descent. So the generation that came after Atum, which is Tefnut and Shu, they will have their individual planets. So it'll be the Shu Nectaru over this planet, and the Tef Neteru over this planet. And then from them came the other, became the two more became their Khalifas, and their Khalifas was Jeb and Nut, and they will be given Khalifaship over those next two planets, right? And so you will have the Geb Neteru over this planet, and you have the Nut Neteru over that planet, and all the way down until you got to the last Khalifa, the last Khalifas, which was Asar and Aset, Nebhet, and Set, right? Now, when we also meditate on another name for, and this is in the Memphite, the Memphite tablets in the Ptah priesthood, and the Ptah priesthood was famous on keeping records. They basically made Atum, where Atum was looked at as his own separate deity in the Heliopolis priesthood, but under the Memphite priesthood, Atum was also casted as the son of Ptah under the name of Nefertum. So Nefertum means the beautiful Atum. So this is Nefertum as I spoke. And the story of Nefertum is that he ascends as fragrance to the nose of Ra. But so the whole theme of Khalifahood is it goes back to Ptah. So in this music, we are waking up the Khalifas. Now, if we go into the Greek story, and they mention that Zeus handed the scepter of rule to Dionysus as a baby, and put Dionysus on his throne and said he's going to take over as the king of the gods. That Dionysus is going to take over as the king of the gods. But Dionysus was a little baby. Give me a minute, family. So Dionysus was a little baby when Zeus put him on the throne. This is according to the Orphite stories. And so as a baby, he was not mature enough or strong enough to defend the throne. But it seemed at that point in time, Zeus wanted to pass on the scepter as the king of the gods. But before Zeus was Kronos. Before Kronos, it was Uranus. Right? So and people say, well, why you talking that Greek stuff? The original ancient proto-Greeks, or the parents of the Greeks, were the Etruscans. They was also the ones who basically fathered the Romans. Those Etruscans are the Ptah priesthood that was up under the leadership of Imhotep, right? Which is the Imhotep is called in the teachings of the 5% Nation of Islam, Yaqub. So it was the Etruscans that all of those Greek mythology stories came from, because it was all basically Canaanite, Aegean Sea, Minoan. It was all connected, and that connection just went right back to Kemet, and Kemet from Cush. You know, so. The Khalifahood is an ancient science, and so that's what the Sufi So when we look at Star Wars, and I say that's where old boy George Lucas got the concept of Jedi Knight. He got it from the Sufi masters who wore the robes, and they was humble, but yet they had spiritual power, which they call the Force. We call it Heka, right? And then they call them Jedi. So we take the word Jedi, it goes back to the Jedi, which is the stone pillar of this the Jedi right here, the Jedi pillar. So this is where they get the concept of the Jedi from the word the Jed. Y'all can see that. And that's about, so when they tell you in different organizations, spiritual organizations and orders to stand erect, stand straight. In Islam, you got to stand straight. Your hands up like this. Christianity, stand straight. Different organizations, stand straight, stand erect. Even in social communities and whatnot, standing straight, that's representing the standing straight under the Jad pillar. And that's the energy that we use to keep certain portals open, and keep things, heaven and earth balanced, was the Djed, right? So as the Khalifah's job was to enforce Mayat in the land. So when we say Pharaoh and Khalifah are the same thing. The Pharaoh's job is to enforce Mayat in the land. And as I was also pointing at, Bilal was not a Muslim, he was a Khalifa. The word Muslim was a name of one of the followers or the companions of Prophet Muhammad. A lot of people don't realize there was an individual that was with Prophet Muhammad and his name was Muslim. That's why you got a hadith that says Sahih Muslim. That was a name at first of a person. Just like Rahim was a name. But you had those who did not that still had racism in their hearts, and they did not want to follow Bilal, who was not a slave. He was a high priest of Ptah who brought the teachings to Prophet Muhammad. But instead of him saying Ptah to Prophet Muhammad, he just said Allah, which is the same thing, which means the God. Right? And then the aspects of Amun Ra was broken down as Allah being both Batin, which means hidden, and Zahir, which means revealed. So you can see Amun Ra has been incorporated in the 99 names of Allah or the God. But see, they did not want to go because they was caught up on each one of them being a leader, right? And so they said so this is where the Sunni aspect come from, because they was trying to make whatever Prophet Muhammad said reflect that they're the ones who are the Khalifas, which the Khalif. But then you had those who were related to Prophet Muhammad, and they said, hey, we are Shiite because we're the party of Ali, and we should be the ones who this new teaching is to be passed on, because Fatima was his daughter, and Ali was his son-in-law and cousin, as I remember hearing. And so you have the Sunni this way, the Shiite this way, and they forgot all about the Sufi. And so the Sufis was already on the scene before Prophet Muhammad even went to the cave. Before he even went and meditated, the Sufis was already on the planet. The Sufis have been on the planet for 72 trillion years. But Bilal came with a new disposition of wisdom, because he was the avatar of the 24th scientists at the time, or the Tijali, as we call it in Sufism. But he was symbolically called Jibril, but Jibril meant nothing but man of God, right? Gabriel, man of God. And so it was supposed to be teaching the people to become Khalifahs, rulers, not Muslims, worshippers. But we do respect the Muslim community just like we respect the Christian community. But we have to actually break down the esoteric and the alchemical and the theosophical history, right? Because if we don't break it down and the world goes through its transmutation into that alchemical and theosophical and Gnostic and magical reality, a lot of people who was locked into the Orthodox framework and fanaticism, and I mean dangerous, take your life type of fanaticism, because they follow everything that Orthodox scholars have said. That they're going to be blind. There's light that's going to hit. That's going to be this intergalactic and interdimensional magical light that's going to bathe the planet Earth. It's going to be hellfire to others, but it's going to be paradise and illumination to those of us who are already sparked into consciousness, right? So with this Ghetto Rise of the Blackmessiah tour, I'm moving forth as a Khalifah. I'm moving forth as a pharaoh, so I can bring people from being powerless into being powerful, right? And we're putting together a mothership, right? So we could take this party to the stars. But guess what? Even the mothership has to have what? Gas in the tank. I don't think the mothership is gonna even get anywhere near Mars. Now you know when NASA is launching those rockets into space, that is a lot of fuel, right? That's millions to billions of dollars worth of fuel that they have to put in these space shuttles just to launch into space. But we are putting together a mothership, the mothership of Dionysus. And so I'm asking everybody to put gas in the tank so we can rock this planet and then rock the universe. Y'all with me on that? If you are, hit me up on the tickets and on the tour. Heck Hotel.